Never buy these beach houses in Orange County if you don't want to lose your money. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to avoid when buying a beach home in Orange County, whether you're a seasoned buyer or whether this is your first time buying a beach home. These tips could save you thousands of dollars and a lot of headaches. Kind of point out things to avoid if you are getting ready to buy a beach home in Orange County. All right, with that being said, let's take a look at point number one. You don't want to buy a home in a flood zone. Now, it's hard to avoid when you're buying a house on the beach. Most of those homes are going to be in a flood zone, but you kind of want to look at the flood map and see, because they keep track of all that. You kind of want to see, on the flood map where it is flooded or when it is last flooded or what parts of the city it's going to flood in. If you're putting your money into a home that is right smack dab in the middle of a flood zone, you're going to be looking at higher insurance rates and possibly a lot of money in basically fixing up your home after it floods. So a couple of things to consider. Right now I'm actually walking along the San Gabriel River in Seal Beach. We're at high tide right now, so you can kind of see how high the tide comes up in the afternoon. Actually today it's going to be kind of late, but I'll show you some video from before. When it's low tide, there's a lot of beach here. But right now, as you can see, it's pretty high up. Like when the tide goes out, there's I don't know, probably maybe 50, 60 feet out to the right of me that you can actually walk down these rocks and get out on the beach and walk pretty much all the way down to the end of the where the ocean meets, feeds into the river. That kind of gives you an indication of how much the water can come in and could possibly cause damage if you're too close. Now, most of these homes that are already here right now are not going to be, where the tides come in, but when we have a storm, it could raise the water even higher. The other things to consider too is that we are right now. It's probably it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and as you can see, it's overcast. And certain months out of the year, it does that. So, weather has a huge impact on beach homes. Just probably if you get in the car and drive maybe 15 minutes east of here, the sun will be out, and it'll be a lot warmer. Down here by the ocean, it's what they call it June gloom, but unfortunately it's not June, it's October. So it happens pretty much all year round. The weather has a huge impact on this area, any area along the beach, especially down here in Orange County too. Another thing you're going to want to consider when buying a home down by the beach is a lot of people buy homes to, just come for the summer and rent them out for the rest of the year, or rent them out when they're not here. And yes, it can be a great income opportunity because a lot of people want to come down here and, stay by the beach. So people will put their homes on Airbnb and, hopefully they'll be rented out most of the time. But certain cities only allow a certain number of homes to be short-term rentals, basically. I was going to say Airbnb, but short-term rentals, and you want to make sure in writing, you want to check with the city to make sure that they will allow the home that you're considering purchasing to be a short-term rental, if that's what you want to do. You also might want to check if you're thinking about it, you're not too sure that that's what you want to do, just make sure before you buy it, because these homes that are down by the ocean are very expensive. They can be. Well, they are. Bottom line is, if you're actually buying on the ocean, you could pay anywhere from $6 million on up. Sky's the limit in Orange County. But you want to make sure that it's free from anything that you want to do. If it's going to be your only home and you're just going to live in it, maybe it's not a big concern, but that's definitely something you want to check out. So as far as flooding goes and the tide rising and everything, we're on the south side of the pier in Seal Beach. During the winter time, they'll come out and put a big berm up on the sand, and it's basically to keep the water from coming in to these homes that are along the beach here, along the boardwalk. Really nice homes, really nice place to live, but that's definitely a consideration. So, the insurance on these is going to be a little bit higher because, it's in a flood zone. That's why they put the berm up. Doesn't happen every year, but it does happen. I've seen it where the water came in, flooded the entire parking lot, which is back behind me, and got up into these homes over here. But you really, it's hard to beat the location there. that's the thing. If you're, if you can afford to move into one of these homes, just keep in mind that, it's going to require some maintenance. On the water, it's going to be probably more maintenance required. If you buy in, they're going to be more expensive for the home. But if you buy inland, just a little bit off the beach, you're not directly on the beach, you're going to have a lot less maintenance. As I'm walking down through here right now, you see a lot of homes that are, just the front of them, there's a lot of dry rot going on. They have to paint it more often. You have to, if you have any exposed metal, you have to make sure that that's treated, because you have the elements right here. So there's nothing blocking you from the salt air coming in and basically destroying your home. So if you don't take care of it, you're going to pay the price heavily. So it's good to, keep that into consideration when you are actually looking to buy down by the beach. If you're on the beach, it's going to be more so. The other thing that you'll notice out in this area, because of the overcast, because of the moisture in the air, mold can grow faster in this area too than if you were, like, let's say in the desert, for instance. So you got to keep that into mind too when you're looking in this area. One of the things you're definitely going to want to do when you buy a home by the beach is you're going to want to get a home inspection done. I want to say all home inspectors are going to kind of do the same thing, but there are people that actually specialize in beachfront properties or beach properties. So if you have a home inspector, let's say for instance, and they're used to doing a lot of work more inland in the desert areas, they're not going to see a lot of the same things that the inspectors that are doing homes along the coast are going to see. So there's a lot of different things for them to look out for. So you want to make sure that home inspector is well versed in beachfront properties too. And basically the home inspector is going to come in and they're going to go through the house. They're going to look at the exterior, the interior. They're not going to look inside the walls, so they don't always catch everything, but it's a great place to start. And you're going to definitely want to get a home warranty, from the seller if you can. If not, buy it yourself. It's worth it in the long run, because home inspectors don't always catch everything that's going on with the house. But some of the stuff is obvious, right? So you can kind of see that when you're looking at homes. You can see, I'm walking past one right now that needs paint on the front. You can definitely see that. The home next door is actually getting painted right now, and they're probably having to do this quite often, especially down here, because you're basically all the elements. You got the sun, the heat, you got the sand getting blown up on the house, the salt water spray coming in, the morning mist that we're looking at right now. And I know it sounds bad, but I mean, what a great place to live. I mean, you can't really beat it. So I'm giving you this information just to kind of give you an idea of what to look for. I'm not trying to discourage you, because where else can you live like this? Right now, we're on the news, we're seeing a bunch of hurricanes going on in Florida, and we really don't get that out here in Southern California. A couple of years ago, we actually had a hurricane come through Southern California, which doesn't happen every year like it does in Florida. But to me, it was more of a heavy rain. Yes, parts of the city were flooded, but for the most part, it was just a heavy rain, and there was a lot of hype for nothing, basically. Just keep that in mind. Okay, right now I'm in Huntington Harbor. We're looking at homes that are actually on the harbor, a little more inland, not too far inland. These homes in here are running, you can find condos in here for about $1.5 million on up, depending on the house, depending on the size of the house, where it's located. If it's, if you can get a bigger boat in, what size dock you have in the backyard. And now that we're talking about docks, that is definitely something you're going to want to consider if you want to buy one of these homes. A lot of these docks are very well maintained, but some of them are not. You're going to want to get an inspector to go, a diver actually, the inspector, to go down and look at the dock, make sure it's in good shape, make sure the foundation of it is solid. The last thing you want to do is buy a home in one of these areas and then something goes wrong with the dock. It could cost you a lot of money. So if you're looking in this area, that's definitely something you want to consider. Now, Huntington Harbor is like the most, it's in Huntington Beach, is North Huntington Beach along the coast. A lot of these people, you know, as you can see behind me, they park their boats out here, and, you know, on the weekends, this place is very active. During the week, not so much. Just make sure that if you do move into one of these, or you're looking to move to one of these homes, that you're going to get an inspection on the home to make sure that that dock is in good shape. Can't stress that enough. All right, now living in Huntington Harbor, the experience back in here is awesome. The homes are not actually they're basically inland a little bit more, so they're not exposed to as much of the elements as if you were right on the coast. If you're on the beach and you have nothing blocking you from the ocean, you get a lot of wind. You know, a lot of the elements can hit your house directly. So these homes are a little more tucked away, and you know, while there is a lot of maintenance still required, not as much as those, unless you buy something that has, you know, a lot of problems. So again, inspection, stress, get the inspection done. All right, right now we are in Huntington Beach, down close to the pier, close to Main Street. Great location. You know, these homes behind me are right across the street from the beach. The only issue I would have there is you're right on PCH, and you know, it could get a little noisy. But again, you know, you take the good with the bad. You're right across the street from the beach, one of the nicest beaches in Southern California. The other thing too, when you're down in like heavy touristy areas like, you know, like Balboa Peninsula or Huntington Beach, Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, there's going to be a lot of tourists out there, so it does get noisy. Huntington Beach has an air show every year, which draws huge crowds. You got the air show, you got the surfing competitions. I mean, so a lot of people are down here. So when you're looking at buying homes in this area, you're going to want to take all that into consideration, along with, you know, some of the things that we've already talked about. These homes are exposed directly to the ocean, so, you know, that's something to consider. But if you go a little bit further in, you know, you have a little less of that, but you still have the crowds, you still have parking issues and things like that too. So, you know, that's just one of the things to consider. Another thing about a lot of these homes down in Huntington Beach or along the coast, it doesn't really get super hot here, even during some of the hottest months in the summer. I think this year I don't even know if it got up to 100, but it's a pretty moderate climate. So a lot of these homes don't have air conditioning in them, believe it or not. Don't really need to run it a lot, you know, but if you're looking for a home and you have to have air conditioning, that's one of the things you definitely want to consider. Now, the bonus with living in Huntington Beach, and in this area in particular, down by Main Street, is there's plenty of things to do. Walk to pretty much anything. Tons of restaurants, tons of shopping. You got the beach, which is always good. It's a little overcast right now. It's funny because I'm driving down from Seal Beach into Huntington Beach, and I've been, you know, out for about an hour and a half. And as I was leaving Seal Beach, the sun was starting to come out. As I get into Huntington Beach, it's overcast still. So, you know, that's this time of year. So normally it's sunny and beautiful. But a few weeks out of the year, it does get like this. Another thing you're going to want to consider is the age of the home too. And you know, some of the older homes are going to need a little bit more work than the newer homes. But you know, don't assume that the newer homes are not going to need work, and don't skip that inspection either. All right, now we're in the Balboa Peninsula, and you know, we're walking on the really awesome neighborhood. There's a lot of newer homes and older homes in here. Even though the house is new, do not forego the home inspection at all. Even on new builds, you always want to do a home inspection. If you're down by the coast, you want to know what type of materials they use to build a home. A lot of the newer homes use, you know, the latest technology, so that could be a bonus, but you want to make sure. If you forego the home inspection, you know, you could be costing yourself a lot of money. And the reason you want to do the home inspection is because you want to avoid you want to basically find out anything that could be possibly wrong with the house before you buy it, and maybe take care of some of those expenses, have the seller take care of some of those things. Because if you miss certain things, it could cost you a lot of money. One of the last things I want to touch on is the HOAs. So you want to make sure that the HOA is solvent. They have enough money to take care of any problems, anything like that, if something should come up. So take a good look at those HOA docs, and last but not least, always, always, always make sure you're good with the rules and regulations in the city that you're buying. Now, if you're ready to buy in Orange County, if you're looking for, beach property or any property for that matter, go ahead and give this number a call. And if you're not ready to buy yet, take a look at this video right here and learn a little bit more about what Orange County has to offer.